Dan, I always love beginning an episode of the Wood Hounds podcast by asking you a simple question.
And I love starting the Wood Hounds podcast by answering, hopefully, a
Yes.
simple question. Simple's the
Okay.
key word there.
Yes, simple. Dan, can you put on your thinking cap?
My thinking cap is rarely ever off.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
on.
Do you recall a few episodes back, I was telling the story of my experience at a hotel in Connecticut and a
Yes.
certain $6 fee they charged me to park my car in their parking lot.
Yes, I do recall that.
Yeah. So part of my nefarious ploy to get my $6 back was to have a big breakfast.
Oh,
I was gonna eat my breakfast that I was normally going to have, and then like another $6 of product off of their breakfast bar. Okay.
And
So
maybe some handbars of soap or something like that. And maybe a hand towel. Yeah.
I gotta say those pillows were awesome. No, I would never steal
All right.
out of a hotel.
No, not.
I did stay at a hotel once that was so bad and so cheap they stole my towels. That's how bad they were. So I wanted to get my $6 back. So I had a very hearty breakfast. And I don't know about you, but when I was little, I used to eat cereal a lot. I remember going shopping with my parents at the grocery store, and I was allowed to choose one. We always had to get Total or some boring brand like that.
Yeah, Cheerios or something.
Something allegedly healthy.
Yep.
And I was allowed to pick one of my, like Boo Berry or Fruit
Fruity
Loops
Pebbles.
or something. Yes. Yeah. So I swear to you, Dan, it's been 20, 30 years since I've had a bowl of Raisin Bran.
Oh, yeah, that's
Raisin
not one
Bran.
of the good ones for me.
Yeah. But but they had these cereal dispensers where you put your bowl underneath the spout, and it was in a
Yep.
clear plastic container, and you'd spin the dial, and it was kind of fun. And out would pop your bowl full of Raisin Bran. So I got Raisin Bran, Dan. Raisin Bran. When was the last time I've had Raisin Bran? So I put my milk in it, and I sat down at my table, and I started eating it. And I said, this Raisin Bran is awesome. I love this Raisin Bran. It was like the most refreshing breakfast I've had. It was just hit right. Everything
Really?
about it. Yeah.
Jeez.
Raisin Bran.
Go figure.
When I drove my Audi A5 rental car that I still can't get off my mind, and as soon as I got in the door, I wanted to tell my wife about my rental car, but the next thing out of my mouth was, honey, do you think the next time you're at the store, could you buy a box of Raisin Bran?
Oh.
Yeah. So she did. She bought Raisin Bran, and it was, gosh, that's all I eat now for breakfast is Raisin Bran.
I thought you were going to say, here, can you take this 5-gallon plastic bag that I filled up from the hotel with Raisin Bran and put it somewhere?
Yeah, if I could have, I would have. Yeah. I would have taken that little thin plastic bag they put in your ice box you never go to use to get your ice. And I'd have filled that up with
like 5 of them filled up.
Yeah. Okay. So where am I going with this? We're on our second box of Raisin Bran since that trip. All right. And I poured out my Raisin Bran and I ate it. And after I got done eating it, I said, I don't remember biting into a raisin at all. So I was on heightened alert for my next bowl and not a single raisin.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I pulled the plastic bag out of the cardboard box and I'm looking at it. I don't see a stupid raisin in my box of Raisin Bran. My wife bought a defective box of Raisin Bran, Dan.
Oh, no. Are you sure she got Raisin Bran and not just Bran?
Yeah, that's in essence what it is. But the box says raisin, 2 scoops of raisin in, in Kellogg's Raisin Bran. There's not a scoop in there. There's like no raisins. And I don't know, how do you seek redress
You,
for being victimized by a defective box of Raisin Bran?
there's no course of action that I know of. You just move on to the next box and hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, I was going to head on out to Connecticut with my box of empty Raisin Bran and fill it up with their stuff because their stuff was awesome.
Maybe they had like Raisin Bran Plus or something in different
The
variation.
the flakes kind of were not your traditional corn flakes. They were kind of chewy like granola. They were really good.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I come home, I got a defective box of cornflakes or Raisin Bran. What do I do? I mean, it's like practically all gone now for me to figure out there weren't any raisins in it. And how do you take like an empty box back to the grocery store and ask for your money back? Can you do that? Am I
You
just
could
out the
try.
raisins? You know?
I don't think you'd have much luck. I think they might call your bluff on that and say,
Yeah.
"Yeah, sorry."
Hmm. Oh well. Well, that was just something I was thinking of that was falsely advertised. A box of Raisin Bran when really all I got was bran flakes. And I don't know, it kind of got me also thinking, is there anything else out there that's falsely advertised? And so I forwarded you a video that I saw that I think we could just label it as falsely advertised.
Oh,
False
yes.
advertising on a Firewood video, Dan.
Firewood, yes, it was. For all those listening, we are going to tie this and circle back into Firewood. Otherwise, we could maybe have falsely advertised this episode
Yeah, I
or this
can hear
podcast.
I can hear JB typing up his comment right now that this is nothing to do about Firewood.
Hold on, JB Brown. Just delete
yeah.
that comment right now for
Yeah,
now.
delete your previous
Wait.
comment, JB, because here we go. Yeah, so we thought we would have some fun today, and we're going to pick on our other good friend, Firewood Channel, Chris from in the wood yard, and he was a very generous guy. Came out to my International Firewood Expo and hung out and represented the industry, represented YouTube, and was just a generally a very good guy. What the heck? But there's that Ford versus Chevy thing going on here about, do you stack firewood or do you leave it in bins? What he calls a bin. He makes a, I don't know, Dan. What's he like? Got a magic wand or something? How does he do that?
I believe he builds them out of pallets.
Yeah.
He uses pallets on the bottom, and he does a little where he puts like an extra layer down the middle on the bottom of pallets, so it's a little higher, and then he uses pallets around the outside, and he kind of wires them together so they're braced up and kind of hold and contain the wood inside. It's pretty much used pallets is what he
Uh-huh.
uses.
So what's the reason he does it like that? What's the deal?
From what I gather, it's because the pallets he can acquire for free. He gets a lot of
Yeah,
pallets, so
anyone
that's
can.
source.
Pallets are easy. Free
Yeah,
pallets are easy to find.
sources out the material for free, and I think that's the main reason why. And then just for the sake of, I think, avoiding stacking, he uses the bins.
Uh-huh. And why would you want to avoid stacking?
I don't know. It all depends on your circumstance. I've been avoiding stacking myself.
Uh-huh.
So if
Yeah,
you
I
have,
don't
a conveyor like I have, I just run it into a pile now.
yeah, what's the big deal about stacking? I mean, we'll get around to that. I mean, this whole episode will be about this. But the 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 immediate reaction that I had, Chris had just produced a video where he He's moving into a new area, right? So he had to clear off the ground, lay down pallets. He, I don't know, does he screw them in together or he just wires them together?
A little of each, I think. I think a
Uh
little of
huh.
each.
And so I was watching him make that. And then he's standing in front of a completed bin. He made like a little door, and the bin's empty. So he still has to put the wood into it. And I don't know how much wood would fit in there, the one that he constructed. I know that wood, like left in a pile, you always think that you have more than what you really do. When you stack it, you're like, oh, wow, that's all there was. I thought we had a lot more than that.
Yep.
And I can't help but when I look at the bin and I'm thinking, what would fit in there? And then you can also heap it. So it's heaped way up in the air. My point was when he was building that, the time that it would have taken him to source those pallets, to go get them, to bring them back, I'll give him some slack on having to clear off the ground because you're only going to do that one time. Big deal. And then build the bin. And then you still got to chuck all your wood into it. My point to Dan was I have a feeling that I could have stacked all of that same quantity of wood by the time it took him to build the bin and then chuck all of the wood into it, which is the second point of this, Dan, is that chucking wood into a bin or making the bin is not the entire situation. It's just one part of it. And when people analyze, do you leave stuff in piles? Do you leave stuff in bins? Do you stack it? People don't look at the entire process. They take a snapshot of the part that they're trying to avoid the most, which would be, I don't know, stacking it. And then they draw their conclusions.
Correct. They look at what I think is people divide the firewood process into two separate sections: the sourcing, the cutting, and the splitting, and then the selling is like the second half. So once you get to that, whether you stack it or throw it in a bin, that's where people always then kind of cut things off and think of ending. Like that's the end process. So they look at from going backwards to where I'm splitting it. What can I save time on? What can I save, resource, my body, everything else on? And they always think of, well, if I didn't stack this wood, it would save me a lot of time. So I'm going to throw it into a pile.
Uh-huh. Well, I would say that, okay, this is all a testable hypothesis. Okay. I am just going to admit right now, I'm too lazy to test this hypothesis. I would just stack my wood because that is my process. I like it. It works great for me. It's the best bang for my buck. I had already figured out that I actually make more money when I stack wood than when I make wood, if you can believe that. Because after my wood is stacked, it's double the price of what it was when I made it. If I made it into
Yep.
if I split it into a trailer and went and dumped it in someone's yard. When I stack it, it more than doubles its price. But like the whole bin thing, okay, there's I see the utility of it. I do, because there might be something satisfying in, let's say you make a bunch of wood, it's in a trailer, you pull the trailer over to the side of it and you chuck it in. I would think, in theory, if you had a trailer to chuck out of versus a trailer of the same quantity to stack out of, you could probably chuck it faster than you could stack it. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
But that is a snapshot, Dan. What is your time commitment to getting that bin set up? You can't take that out of the equation. Okay. Number two, and this is where I say, we're just looking at a snapshot of it. You're not looking at the entire process. How do you get that wood out of the bin to sell it? And when I see people loading up from a bin, I don't like what I see. I see I see sore knees, sore ankles, a almost 60-year-old guy climbing up on top of a pile to chuck back into your trailer or to your truck. And the more you chuck, the farther away your truck gets from the pile, you know? And so you got to pull pallets up out of the ground or you got to walk on top of them. To me, just pulling up broadside to a row of stacked firewood, you can literally, if there was a time savings, chucking into a bin, you get it back loading off of a stack.
I would agree. And I would say also, depending on how wide you made your bin, to your point, you would have to, in a sense, take it apart in order to load the wood. So it's not
Uh-huh.
like something that you could build once and leave it, therefore, kind of like, countering the claim of the time it takes to build it. Like when you build it and you fill it, when you go to empty it, you almost have to take the sides down and possibly pull up the floor in order to drive your truck close enough to the pile to load.
Yeah. And then depending on the time of year, and if you're on concrete or if you're on field, when you pull those pallets up, that's going to be, the grass is all dead and it's pretty soupy and soft under
Or
there.
frozen.
Yeah. Well, if they're frozen,
Frozen
you're not
in.
probably going to get those pallets off the ground then, you don't think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff
Yeah.
freezes to the ground.
It can be a challenge. And that's, I mean, I ran into it with when I made my piles in my little ditch, at the further you get into the pile, the further you have to throw it. And that becomes a challenge. And it also
Uh-huh.
becomes more time consuming.
Now, as for the drying of the wood, so I've known this for a while too, because I used to leave my stuff in piles, and the stuff in the middle would dry, but I would also have some that would turn black and smell funny and have like white dots all over it. And that's kind of depressing when you think you got all of that product to sell, and if your customers are restaurants, they don't want that, you know. Um, what I like with stacking, I know my quantity, I know what I got. I don't have to worry about bugs. I don't have to worry about mold. I don't have to worry about moss or mushrooms growing because I can see what I have and I can maintain all that versus stuff in the pile.
Yeah, I've had where I've dug into piles, and it's fine for me because I'm not selling it to another customer. It's going into my boiler. But I've dug into piles and I've seen where, like, I can just tell where the water ran and it had no sunlight, very little air, very little wind, and there's like fuzz growing on on the wood.
Uh huh.
It just is. I'm like, yeah, well, good thing that's boiler wood.
Yeah. And then I can't also help but think about the seasoned wood, especially if you sell seasoned wood. Where I think bins would really benefit is if you are producing a bunch of firewood all at the same time, where all of it goes into the bin at the same time. But that's not really how I make wood. I could see if I use like a 10 cord bin that the stuff at the bottom of the pile could be a month older than the stuff at the top of the pile. So the first stuff that you're going to be selling is the greenest stuff that went into that bin, at least
Yep,
for me.
yep.
You know,
That's what I do it that way where I build my piles over months. But like my tree service guy Rick, when we go up there, we make wood for a weekend, and he has a huge pile that was all made within 2 to 3 days. So everything's the same. It's so that, yeah, there is a difference to, if you are a hobbyist like myself, you might not build your piles all in 1 week or one weekend.
yeah,
So your most
yeah,
seasoned wood is at the bottom that you can't get
yeah.
to.
It's at the bottom, Dan. Yeah, that was my one video. Chris and I talk about this, and we just think it's fun, to have this little spirited debate here. And the one comment I keep making is, when it comes time to sell your wood and you need to take your seasoned wood because I have a first in, first out system. And what I'm delivering today is the oldest wood in my yard. And, I would say, where is the oldest wood in your wood yard? And, I'll give you a hint. It's not at the top of the pile.
Nope.
Yeah. No, it is not. Yeah. And then I just also think so too. Yeah, these bins are so ugly, aren't they? It's just ugly to look at. For just a few more minutes, you could have just beautiful rows and rows of firewood, and you got so much more space, and it just looks nice.
They do a stack of firewood does have a certain appeal
Yes.
to it. It does look nice, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also don't. I have this big pile in my carport that it's like I look at it and I'm kind of getting used to it now.
Uh huh. So you've had experiences though with piling, right? You didn't make a bin, but you left your wood in piles. Was your piles on top of pallets though?
Yes, and previously I always kind of had them covered, so I did keep the rain and the snow kind of off of them, which
Yeah.
really helps. But because my location, and this is the one thing with bins, is it's all location, location, location. If you're out in a wide open field with full sun all day and a lot of wind, they're going to work a lot better than if you're in a shaded valley that has no wind and like 3 hours of sunlight.
Or if you're
That's,
back into the trees, probably
yeah,
too.
right. If you're shaded area, I mean, that's what was wrong with my initial piles is that they were shaded and I don't really get a lot of wind because I'm kind of down in a little ravine. But now I'm building my current one kind of inside my carport. So it's covered from the rain, which really helps, and the snow.
Yeah. And then you also tried those big bags before too, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
And
And
that didn't work out too good.
I had the same problem just being in shaded areas with not a lot of wind. And then when I did put the one out in the full sun all day, it just destroyed it. I mean, it was
Uh-huh.
one time use,
The bag was just tore.
deteriorated. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you also showed that the wood inside of it molded, turned
Yep.
black. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
those bags kind of came on strong there for a while, but now you don't really hear about them anymore. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Maybe like a big production yard, but not like, the type of firewood services that you see on YouTube.
Yeah. And again, it's another factor that plays into this is the type of wood. I mean, if you're filling all your bags with ash that's already at 28% moisture and isn't very susceptible to molding, you're fine. But you throw in a 45% moisture content oak freshly split, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have
And it'll
problems.
grow mushrooms too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can only speak for myself here, but I have a suspicion that for a lot of people out there, you hear things and you just assume that's the way it is. And that was how I got my start. I was I didn't know. I thought that I shouldn't make firewood out of silver maple because it's like, oh my gosh, you can't do that. I didn't think I could have a half-ton truck to make deliveries. Oh my gosh, that truck's too light. And then I didn't stack my wood. I still recall we had our barn remodeled. I had my old wheelbarrow back there. I used that wheelbarrow for my piles that I had in my yard. And I still recall loading this wheelbarrow, pulling sticks of firewood out of the pile with snow on top, and feeling the snow land on my wrist between my coat sleeve and my glove, thinking that there's got to be a better way than this because I always heard, well, you shouldn't stack wood. It's too time consuming. But when I started thinking of this, looking at things critically, I was like, no, I think stacking makes a lot of sense. And you don't even need pallets if you just get like some skinny. I was using like skinny branches off of trees and would
Yep.
stack the wood on top of those, and then it was easier to trim around them too with the weed whacker because the bottom row is sufficiently off the ground, and you could get it good with the string trimmer. Yeah, so I started stacking, and then with the loading thing is the benefit for me, because I still buy firewood, and one of my suppliers doesn't have his wood stacked when I get up there, and it stinks. I mean, I like buying it because I get it pretty cheap, but it stinks going up there. You got to bend down, pick up one piece in each hand, and chuck it into the truck.
So not like smell stinks. It stinks like sucks
Yeah.
labor wise.
Stinks like
Yes.
my favorite sports teams stink.
Right.
Yeah. No good. Versus the other places, I have the one time I was out there with my stacker fourth class Robbie, we had my truck loaded in 10 minutes. And that's not just chucking it into the truck, that's stacking it neatly, for having 5 rows.
Yeah, that's tossing it in and stacking it in the truck. If you
Yeah,
were just
because you can pull 10 pieces of wood off that pile, off of that stack, all at the same time.
yeah, if you were just chucking it into your wood or into your truck bed loose, you could load even
Oh,
quicker.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would be like Gene Wilder's quick draw in Blazing Saddles. It'd be that fast. Yeah. Yeah. So but I still stand by this. Do what you want. But I will defend stacking because I think for the most part, it's misrepresented. We're only getting the snapshot of the entire process. It's like buying a box of Raisin Bran with no raisins in it.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Not good. But I think if it would be possible, and I don't know, maybe this is something we can add to the International Firewood Expo 2027. We have 2 dump trailers full of wood, and we have over here on one side a stack of loose pallets, and on the other side, you with your gloves,
and some baling wire and
yes, we get Chris down there in Ohio, and you guys, we start the clock, and he goes to work building his bin, and you go to work stacking, and we'll see which dump trailer is empty first.
you had me hook, line, and sinker up into the point of me doing the stacking. I saw myself like in my lawn chair pointing. That's what I would have been doing.
Well, maybe we could open it up to volunteers. Who would like to participate in the stack versus pile competition?
But again, that's half the thing though. You got to get the wood out of it. Unless you got a magic wand.
Right.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
So then the second half would be then timed loading the dump trailer back up. See, we cover it all.
But I like.
The only problem is we would probably forever be cursed and burn where because of all the touching of the wood we'd be doing unnecessarily.
This is just happened, Dan. I was cleaning up my wood yard, and I have my one tote that goes underneath my cleaner, and that's where like all of the nice looking 16-inch pieces of kindling come off of it, and I pull it out because I keep it all because I sell it. Like a bundle of it I can sell for like $12. And I was just laughing to myself thinking, I better not do this because
don't you dare touch that wood again.
Just going to lose money. God. One day this will all make sense, Dan.
All right. I think I'm gonna start trying to organize this event for the expo next year. I'm gonna find some volunteers, and we're gonna do the unload and reload. I think it'll be fun.
Okay, so for my team, I'm going to pick Outside with Shibe.
Oh.
And for Chris's team, I'm going to pick your son. We got to keep things even here, okay?
Well, Chris is such a maniac with his work ethic that we could probably just have him do both.
Yeah, he could probably do both.
No problem.
Yeah. Never get into a contest involving work with Chris from In the Woodyards.
Absolutely not.
He'll dust you.
Yeah, I better not put that as the disclaimer of who you'd be going up against, or I'd get no volunteers.
I'll still give me Shibe and a case of beer, and I'll take on anyone.
See, I think we could really make this interesting.
Yeah.
I think we're on to something here. We're on to it. All right.
All right. Okay. Well, we have an entire 12 months to get it figured out.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not quite. We have 11.
Yeah.
Well, 10.
Okay.
But we'll get at it.
We will have Rasin Bran with beer as your incentive on my team. All right. Well, Dan, how about can we maybe leave the link to Chris's video in the description, or not? It's not called a description in podcast land. It's called podcast notes.
The notes. Yes. We'll
Yeah.
add it to the notes.
Yeah. Cause we have a policy where we always notify our intended victims, but he's not victimized here. This was non-controversial here.
Yep. It's all good.
Okay. He'd understand. All right. Well, Dan, what do you say we end this podcast so that we can get busy stacking our firewood, because it's the right thing to do? Are you in agreement with us?
Up until the point of with the we. I think we can go with the you.
All right. Well, in order to stack wood, though, we have to do one thing.
That's right.
We have to strike up the band.
Strike up the band, and we need to thank all of you for tuning in to another episode of the Wood Hounds podcast, the #1 firewood podcast in the world.
Yeah, and if you would please consider giving us a 5-star review to help us with those algorithm things, that would be very beneficial to us. So, Dan, let's tell everyone out there to
I was going to say to build your bins.
It's like been stacking too long.
Or if you prefer, build your stack.
Because it will give you a
great day. What?
No, I was going to say, yeah. Never mind. And while you're scratching your head, have
a great day.